a lot of us have been asking the question about, is Arizona and Arizona State tied at the hip? Are they having to act as one? Because we all saw what happened with UCLA and Cal when the Cal Board of Regents got together and they were trying to decide if they could prevent UCLA from going to the Big Ten, and when they didn't, they wanted them to pay X amount. And is that the exact same situation that we are staring down the barrel at in the state of Arizona, with Arizona so openly and publicly courting Big 12 membership? What does that mean to Arizona State? Well, sources today at the Arizona Board of Regents told us that no, in fact, they are not tied together. And if Arizona would like to leave, that likely the Arizona Board of Regents will not stand in their way. But what they will also not do is just leave Arizona State twisting in the wind, because the Arizona Board of Regents, according to our sources, sees significant value in education and business in having the two aligned, Arizona and Arizona State. And the University of Arizona, for everything that it's not been athletically, certainly has been a juggernaut in the academic world, as has Arizona State. Academics are far more important, where have we heard this one before, than athletics. And the Arizona Board of Regents, who is made up of titans in academics, titans of business, really smart, well-educated, high-earning, high-functioning folks on the Arizona Board of Regents, really would rather have Arizona and Arizona State aligned in their positions, business and academically. But a lot of people don't believe that that can happen if Arizona's in the Big 12 and Arizona State's in the Pac-12. And if Arizona State continues to fall behind revenue-wise, if they continue to struggle with budget issues at Arizona State, as we have been told that budgets are incredibly tight, and there is frustration amongst the Arizona Board of Regents because Arizona State, who benefited significantly from the debt restructuring that Arizona and Arizona State went through, a lot of people feel like that money will not be well spent at Arizona State, and has to this point been poorly allocated by the athletic department, who got a significant boost financially through restructuring of debt that came back at a much lower interest rate, carrying a much lower cost. You would think that that would be a boom for an athletic department, yet it has not at Arizona State yet been realized. There is significant frustration, according to our sources, from the Arizona Board of Regents to the way money is being spent athletically at Arizona State. You can trace that to Herm Edwards. You can trace that to the fact that Herm lost control very early on in his tenure as football coach at Arizona State of his staff. And we were also told today that it doesn't matter necessarily the outcome of a game or a season in any sport. It is how you conduct your business in the athletic department, specifically with what kind of ethics and oversight. And clearly, if you look at the track record, the ethics and oversight in the Arizona State Athletic Department, Jake, has been nothing short of, I don't know, what's a good word? Shabby?
Yeah, irresponsible, embarrassing, the worst it could possibly be. Like, again, money's the name of the game for these institutions. So if you're not going to be responsible with your money, you're going to find yourself in bad situations. And this is why I continue to go back to the idea and the concept that, yeah, sure, you have bad commissioner after bad commissioner. Yeah, sure, you had millions of dollars tied up in buildings and real estate and, all these excessive things, but whether it's at the school level with Ray Anderson in Arizona State, or it's the commissioner level, right, with Larry Scott and George Kliavkoff, you're irresponsible with your money. Kirk Schultz is no different, right? You're irresponsible with your money. You think that you can do whatever you want. And the problem is you're the little guy on the block. The billions of dollars that these schools make in their academics has the say over the millions you make in athletics. So to me, this isn't really even a conversation. Guys like Ray Anderson are why we're here. Guys like Larry Scott are why we're here. And seemingly, everyone's like, oh, well, there's no way out, and it's too late, and you can't save the pack. And I just disagree. You have to go a different way. If you're going to continue down this path, you're going to die. Like, you're bleeding out, and there's no Band-Aid big enough to fix it or stop it. But if you would make a left turn, and you would go all in on streaming, and you would marry up with ESPN, and you would go in a positive direction, you could salvage the conference. It would take a few years, but you could.
Yep, I totally agree. And I think the other thing at Arizona State that you have to remember is Michael Crow roundly and loudly supported Larry Scott for a long time. And I think that there are long memories amongst his constituents in the Pac-12 about Michael Crow's support of Larry Scott.
Hell out of here, man.
And we've heard that more than once now. That, hey, and don't forget Michael Crow supported Larry Scott. And I think it's a really good reminder because it's incredibly difficult to forget the damage that Larry Scott did. And it may well be that the decisions that Larry Scott made for this conference wind up being fatal decisions. Mm-hmm. It may well be that you're not able to unwind the money that you lost on rents in San Francisco or the money that was spent in Las Vegas allegedly about, hey, singular suites for Larry Scott on top floors and private jets, and those decisions that Larry Scott made may well be the undoing of this conference. Is he directly responsible for the situation that this conference is in? Not singularly, not on his own, but certainly Larry Scott plays a big part in that. And, when you talk about the money that he spent, he probably should have gone to Big O Tires and American Fork when he needed repairs on his cars, right?
Facts.
Big O Tires and American Fork is not just about tires, friends. No. Ryan and his guys at Big O Tires and American Fork, they've done everything to my Grand Cherokee, from tint to oil changes to alignments and tires and brakes and you name it, they do it. And I can tell you, I've sent my family and my friends to Big O Tires and American Fork, and he and his guys just do a great job.
Yes.
And obviously, there's no better brand in the business than Big O for tires. Whether you need snow tires, summer tires, whether you're that guy that hot rods around town and you're looking for Michelin Pilot Sports, that summer tire, that S. You want that Pilot Sport S on your tire?
Bryce Canyon.
Oh, my God. Absolutely. Maybe you want an all-season. Maybe you want to buy one set of tires every 3-4 years. Cool. But he's got a tire solution. Ryan at Big O Tires and American Fork, he's got a tire solution for your ATVs, for your side-by-sides, for your razors, for your dirt bikes, for your motorcycles. Absolutely, they can handle it, as well as tune-ups, brakes. You want to put a lift kit on your Jeep? Do it at American Fork, Big O Tires, because they do it all. Make sure you tell Ryan you heard about it on the Monty Show, because he's just good people. He's a family man. He is a small business owner, and I'm telling you, that's who you need to support. Support the small guy, because that makes a huge difference. Big Bad Brass Bulls gives us a $5 tip to say, missed you on Saturday, but not a total waste of time. Got 6 cases of Bucked Up.
Damn.
2 cases of Buckshot, 2 T-shirts and a hat, other stuff, and a hot dog. A great time. The Bucked Up warehouse sale, you guys, was freaking phenomenal. It was awesome. Jason B. says Texas and Oklahoma didn't go to the SEC for education. So why is Arizona and Arizona State staying in the Pac-12 for education? Because what Texas and Oklahoma do has nothing to do with any school in the Pac-12 does.
Yeah, and by the way, Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 didn't have Stanford, the number 3 educational institution in the land.
And the money for research and education and academics is far different in the Pac-12 than it is in the Big 12.
It's more.
So I would, Kevin Peterson, Wazoo has one of the largest alumni bases. Facts. That might be true. But they also have one of the largest holes to dig out of budget-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love the alumni argument. Who gives a damn? Who cares?
Yeah, I just don't think it matters.
Like, it literally, whether your alumni is here or there, or you've got more or less, it just doesn't matter, man.
Yeah, I don't think it matters. Honestly, I don't think it matters at all. I really don't. Saul Goodman, the Hot Chicken League then could be. Cougar Tracks, how are you? Is there anything the Advocates can do to help save the pack? I don't think so.
You view this season as a failure?
I don't think so. LV Seminole, man, Monty, you can't be pushing Jakey 2 holes in front of a bus. Dude, if you would have heard the ridiculous, raunchy machinations coming from this particular individual today, we rolled up here at 7:30 this morning, and this cat over here is
listening to a certain program on Sirius.
I don't even know what we're talking about. I don't even know.
Uh-huh.
What you mean, man? That was maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Nah, this
When
day.
we're doing it midnight show or something. Kurt Peters, is it me or does Monty hate Colorado? Nothing but shade on CU and the Nuggets.
What are you talking about? Like, what?
Guy, I'm sitting over here talking
What?
about Jakey Twohole's desire to comb Deion's chest
Yeah,
hair, and
like-
you're saying that I hate Colorado?
And as far as the Nuggets are concerned, they're incredibly unlikable. There's nothing to talk about.
How do I hate Colorado? Where the fuck does this come? Do you know how much money I spend in? Do you know how much money I spend in that state every year snowboarding?
Dude.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I know what time it is.
I don't hate generally anybody, but I'm also not going to spin. They're not Colorado University Buffalo football. Their Coach Prime ain't going to be Louis this season.
Nah.
They're going to be a 2 or 3 win team.
And by the way, we're not the only ones saying that.
Yeah, I mean, that's just facts.
It's like widely accepted.
And as far as the Nuggets go, we'll talk Nuggets basketball coming up here in about 20 minutes. Come on.
Too bad.
Come on, man. Kelly Parks says nothing. Okay. Ronan? Ronan? We're going to call you Ronan. Ronan, Oklahoma left Okie State in the dust. Arizona will leave Arizona State in the dust, too. Follow the money. Do you really think those are the same things? Do you really think Oklahoma and Oklahoma State, do you think Arizona State can even hold a candle to the hatred that is held between Oklahoma and Oklahoma State? No. I think they're two different things. I truly do. Ken Williams, Construction Utah is a top 12 football program in the nation. Utah also has the leader research program in the nation. I don't even think it's debatable that Utah is an incredibly valuable program and university. Mark Ruckert, seems Miami has a better road record these playoffs than at home.
27 minutes.
27 minutes. Kevin Peterson. Hey, can you just change your avatar?
You're a douche. That guy's definitely a douche. Get a fast pass for Douche Mountain, because you're a douche.
Put the Anaheim Angels of Los Angeles logo up there, please.
Just take it nice and easy, okay? Just relax.
I'm being a jerk, sorry. Adding the Arizona schools would be a good fit, no matter what Colorado does, agreed. If 2-3 of them decide to bolt, 2 more will flinch and jump. But it won't be like that, you guys. It will not go down like that. It won't be like, okay, Colorado jumps. Oh, shit, we got to go too. Colorado left the conference? Mom, can I have their room?
Mom! Meatloaf!
It's not like that. I think you're going to see, and my guess is it's happened already.
Yeah.
I think you're going to see that they're going to be like, hey, it's Jimmy over here at Colorado and Boulder. How's the weather in Tucson? All right, cool. I don't really care. I was just trying to start the conversation. We're going to go to the Big 12. Why don't you come with us, bro? I mean, the pizza's really good there. The beer's really cold. We'll hang out, you know.
I'm going to say this again.
And Arizona's going to be like, well, and my little brother, I'm watching my little brother. Can I invite him too? Okay, cool, bro. Arizona's going to get off the phone with Colorado and be like, hey, Crow, listen, you got to come with me. I can't stay home. And you know that Mom at the Board of Regents said, you know, you can't be home alone. So pack your shit. We're going to the Big 12. And Arizona State's going to be like, well, look, dude. I'm a huge fan. You know, my best friends are the Utes. Can I bring the Utes with? Is there room in the back of the station wagon? And Michael Crow's going to be like, hey, man. What's up, Coach Whit? Why don't you come with us? We're going to go hang out in the Big 12 for a couple of decades.
That's fucking interesting, man.
Coach Whit's going to be like, all right, I'll fuel up the
All right,
Harley.
cool, man.
Let's go.
By the way,
That's how it's going to go. Like, there's going to be a group that are going to go. And I wouldn't be surprised if Colorado made some announcement Friday. Okay, that would not surprise me. Colorado.
What I just said.
Yeah. Deion's going to be like, hey, we're going to the Big 12 and it's going to be Gucci.
watch Deion. They announced they're going to the Big 12 to do a little presser or whatever, which they won't. They'll just put out a statement, but they'll do a presser.
Oh, they'll do a presser.
Deion's up there in his cowboy hat with a big ass chain on. And Rick George rolls up in like a 3-piece button-down suit, and they're just sitting there And Dion's like, yeah, man, wow, Shador, my boy going to look good on that TCU football field. By the way.
And Mike Gundy's going to walk in. See how I envision this going?
Yeah.
Mike Gundy will walk into the back of the Colorado press conference, and he'll just be he'll have one of those big fat combs, and he'll just be stroking his mullet. You know, like.
What's up, motherfuckers?
And then Kalani's going to walk in, and he's going to be eating like some kind of Hawaiian feast with a dead pig, and be like, "Oh, hey, come on over, brother.
Name, image, and likeness.
Have you guys ever heard of More Betters? I've got some extra mac salad. Come on over." Like it's just going to be it's going to
More
be
Betters, dude.
If we add Dion and he brings wit, I've got plenty of mac salad.
Double.
That would be amazing.
Double mac salad. Do you think Kalani is a no cabbage double mac salad guy?
Terry
Yeah,
all day long.
Double Terry chicken.
All day long. Ruff's official. Uh-oh. There are those casual fans who only like watching celebrity players and think the Nuggets are unlikable.
They are unlikable, dude. I've watched them all year.
23 minutes. Cougar Tracks. I hope George Kliavkoff doesn't take as long negotiating a deal with the Mountain West as he has with the Pack.
Back to the envelope calculations.
Wow. Saul Goodman. Yeah, well, San Diego's going to get left out. I think San Diego State's in the most vulnerable position of all. Because they just in my opinion, they overplayed their hand. Am I wrong about that? In the comments section, where do you guys come down on this? Tell me again that San Diego State didn't overplay their hand.
They did.
I don't see that.
So wait, let me get this right. J.D. Wicker comes out and says, yeah, no matter what, we're going. We're going somewhere. And then what? 2-3 weeks go by? And then what do we get? Adela De La Torre coming out and saying, oh, yeah, we're the Pac-12's number one option. Like, you're an idiot. What do you mean you're their number one option? They're not expanding anytime soon.
Number one option of wait, I'm sorry. Number one option of, like, are you, so you're, I'm sorry. Number one option of.
No, I'm not doing that.
Adela, can you fill me in? Because I'm a little, what, like, number one option for expand into what? Because I do think there is a real question about what happens to the Pac-12 if they lose half of the 5 remaining teams. Let's just say 5 of them leave.
It's over.
Let's say Arizona State, Colorado, Oregon State. Let's just say those 4 are gone. You have 6 teams left.
You're so fucked.
And then Utah's like, yeah, we're going to go too.
All right, we're going to move on here.
And now you have 5 teams left. And all of a sudden, it's like...
George opens the phone. All right.
And he sees a text from President Kosei at Washington and Phil Knight, who sent a selfie with his bare feet up on his desk. And they're both like, yeah, we're going to the Big Ten, and we're taking Stanford and Cal with us. Now you lost 4 more. And you've got Nick Rolovich's former school left.
Well said.
Who's got no money to win athletic games. Like, the conference is dead. Now, what I think happens is, I think Arizona, Colorado, I think they're going to go together. That's my guess, because they have some affinities. I think Arizona and Colorado will go together.
Yeah.
And I think when that announcement happens, I truly believe the Big Ten is going to get after it. I think the Big Ten will put their foot on the gas. And they will say, okay, let's go get these 4.
Yeah.
Because I think Oregon and Washington, Stanford and Cal are not good fits. They're perfect fits.
Yeah.
And I think that's what pushes the whole thing over.
Yeah.
Because you can't lose those 4 schools and survive.
Yep, I agree.
I don't see any way that you
completely.
can. You know. Truck Stop Gumby says, pack your 2 holes. Let's go. Pack your 2 holes.
Pack your 2 holes. Let's go.
Let's go. Pack your 2 holes. Let's go. Mr. Guy says there won't be any more alpha teams left in the Big 12.
Okay, can you define alpha teams, please?
I don't know about that. I think when you look in basketball, all it is alpha teams. I think if you add Utah to this conference, I honestly believe that Utah could come in and compete today.
Yes, right now.
Especially with Brant Keithy and Cam Rising still there, and that defense is reloaded, and I think they could compete today. I do. Stephen Smith gives us $10 to say, which team from the Pac-12 do you think will add left behind in Big 12 expansion? Okay, so at the end of the day,
Yeah, when the dust settles.
Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, Utah, and Oregon State all go to the Big 12. I think then you're going to have, and let's say Stanford, Cal, Oregon, and Washington go to the Big 10.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question is then, what do you do with Washington State? I honestly don't know what you do with Washington State. With all due respect to Pullman, and I do think financially they're in real trouble. Like in this Rolovich suit, I think he has got a great chance to do some real damage to that institution. And I don't know how you fix that. I don't know how you fix that because, like, I look at Utah as an example. I think that Taylor Randall, from everything that I've been told, the president at Utah has been a remarkable calming sense in the Pac-12. He has communicated with everybody back channel. He has said, hey, let's let George and his team do the job we gave him. But he's also at the same time doing exactly what he needs to be doing and making sure that his best interests are being served no matter what happens in the conference.
Yeah.
And I think he has the ability to leave for the Big 12 anytime he wants. And I think when you look at the athletic relationships between BYU and Utah and Colorado, I think you look at the way that Witt's recruited that football program.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you look at the fact that Pac-12 baseball and softball right now are dominating.
Facts.
I think you look at women's sports in the Pac-12 is quite good right now, including Utah. Like, you look at the money and the facilities in the academia at Utah right now. Like, there's almost nothing not to, well, I mean, Ute fans on Twitter, but, we can block them.
Y'all feel me?
Right.
There's very little not to like about Utah.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that Taylor Randall has been such a really deft politician is the right word. But the way he's conducted his business during these very difficult times, and I think that's one of the storylines here is that when you're in turmoil and when you have real issues, and the word is, and I'm not trying to be like, oh, big smart guy, but when you have an existential crisis, a crisis of your very existence, an existential crisis, you will learn very quickly who's in and who's out.
Yep.
Who can handle and who cannot.
Yep.
And I think what you're finding out about Taylor Randall at Utah, he's got handles. That's a guy that's got composure. He has got relationships. He is a good communicator. He is not scared to call people. He is not scared to pick up his phone or answer his phone. And, I always hear, like I heard it again this weekend. Oh, dude, but the AD tweet, Mark Harlan's tweets don't mean anything.
Yeah.
They don't mean anything. Like, we're not leaving. At the time, they weren't leaving. You had no idea that there was no TV deal coming. Right? No, I think that, and if you go back and look at the tweet that Mark Harlan put out.
And I think this is important.
And you look at this tweet right here, and this is the one that we're talking about.
Yeah.
You look at this tweet right here, and this is very clearly Mark Harlan with John Kurtz, a blogger. No disrespect. This is December 6th when they were talking about TV ratings, and Mark Harlan said, we're not leaving. Mark is the athletic director at Utah. Does what he tweeted on December 6th have any bearing to what Brett Yormark's doing? Fuck no. You know what Yormark's doing? He's building an empire. That's what he's doing.
Yeah.
Do you really think that this tweet on March 9th about Big 12 readies to pounce for corner schools, do you really think that Brett Yormark's like, well, I saw Mark Harlan's tweet on March 9th, and I got to tell you, I'm offended by it. I think we're going to go with Air Force Academy instead. Do you really think that? You really think that's what Brett Yormark has shown you to be a lot of things? Has he shown you to be an immature guy that personalizes everything? No, he's not. He's never been that guy.
Yeah. No, I mean, I think the issue with those tweets is I disagree that you didn't know a TV deal wasn't coming at that time.
On December 6th?
At that time, the conversation was, hey, are we going to get proper value? Are we going to get, 31.7 million?
Okay, that's a question.
And I,
that's absolutely a question.
And I'm not saying Mark Harlan's a bad guy. It's not personal. I'm not saying I even dislike Mark Harlan. But my take has always been that was an irresponsible tweet, in my opinion. And it's been an irresponsible tweet because you should never come out on Twitter and comment about your future. Shouldn't do that.
Well, I agree that it was a mistake to comment in any way, shape, or form.
Shouldn't do that. And then what'd you do? And then you got busy tweeting at Dennis Dodd a little later down the line, and then you had to privately apologize to Dennis Dodd because you were frustrated on Twitter.
And that's, to be clear, Mark Harlan has said that he did apologize directly to Dennis Dodd for this tweet.
Yeah. So, I think, Mark Harlan is 2-3 times the AD that Ray Anderson is. Certainly. Not even close. But
Mark's very good at his job.
He is very good at his job. There's no question. But I just think that these guys got to be real careful about how aggressive you want to be criticizing the media and then having those reports that you were not amused with come true a bit. And having there be some
merit
relevance.
in that. I would say there's considerable merit in that. I think you're right.
I agree with you that, hey, you weren't sure in December. Like, the thought was not, we're not going to have a TV deal.
I can tell you in December, I thought they were going to get, $25, $30 million but that's never, because, when I got pretty certain that they were going to lose teams when Amazon pulled out. When we were told that Amazon is out of the running probably 6 weeks ago now?
Yeah.
That's what I was like, this is really going to get ugly. Because we've told you almost since day one that this conference was never going all stream.
And again, this is why I say, this isn't about George Kliavkoff. Wasn't about Larry Scott. This is about the presidents in the Pac-12 not doing good business.
I don't disagree with that. And listen, I think we can all sit here and pretend and make believe what we want, but there's no make believe, man. There's facts and there's realities, and I think that's what this is. Honest to God. Blake says, what if the Four Corners and UW join the Big 12? They won't. There is no what if. Maury Alvarez, sometimes we speak too hastily and have to walk it back, but there is nothing wrong about admitting you were wrong. Nothing. And I think he did do that.
He did do that. But my point, Maury, is that I don't think that ADs in this conference, and this is not unique to Mark Harlan, I don't think that ADs in this conference respected this situation until Amazon pulled out, until they realized Apple wasn't going to work out, until it started kind of setting in that, like ESPN's at $90 million a year and we're running out of options.
When you have, and again, believe me or don't, when you have people in this conference calling us saying, hey, what are you hearing? Hey, what, like when you have people reaching out to us saying, hey, here's where we're at. What are you hearing? Hey, how's the, like we have people that call us in this conference and vent their frustration. We have people who are like, hey, I'll call you when I get home tonight because I don't want to talk at the office. One person in this conference was like, I don't want to talk in the office.
Isn't that wild? Think about that.
Yeah, just let that in. Not like some janitor who's like, yeah, Steve's over here like tape recording me. Like really high up administrator at a major university in the Pac-12 said to us, hey, I'll call you tonight. I don't want to talk at the office.
Did they come through with that?
Yeah, and we talked for like 90 minutes about the dysfunction. Like, it's incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible to me. And it's not like I have long-standing relationships. I did the same thing that most anybody could do. You know what I did? I emailed people and called people and sent links to our show and said, hey, I'd like to have a 5-minute conversation with you offline. Here's a link to my show. Hey, here's XYZ. And almost all of them will be like, yeah, sure. And they'll call you back. You won't get it. Maybe you get a blocked number. Maybe you never. President Cosse, I've probably emailed that woman 50 times. Not one reply, not one call back.
Yeah.
Now, have we talked to somebody at Washington? Yeah. We got our buttholes chewed off at Washington. One morning this winter, we spent a lot of time like being like...
That was one of the greatest calls I've ever heard.
Whoa.
Dude.
Whoa.
Bro.
Right? But the remarkable thing is they all watch, they all listen, and they all want to talk, and they all have things to say. The smart ones don't do it on the record, and they don't do it on Twitter.
And they don't do it at the office.
No, they don't. No, they don't. Ken Williams, constantly you're a fool if you don't think Utah is not a good school and BYU has more to offer. Amen to that.
And I just think it's childish to compare them. And it always has been. Like even when BYU was in independence and going through that grind. Like, locals in Salt Lake and in Utah County want to compare the two, and I get it. It's a local rivalry, totally understand. But if you're a national guy, like if you're listening to us in Texas, or like if you're a New Yorker, or like if you're a Bay Area person, like comparing these two schools is senseless. I mean, they're just in two different places. They operate. They're philosophically speaking, they couldn't be like further like from each other. It's totally different.
Agree. Mike Smith. Twitter makes a smart man stupid. Rarely should someone speaking for many speak in absolutes. Good Lord, yes.
Great point. Well said.
Yes.
Really well said.
Gary.
What's up, brother?
Harlan is for sure losing his job. Wasn't one tweet, but multiple. He's a good athletic
I don't know
director.
about that, Gary.
If you're a Ute and dude, you better hope he doesn't, because that dude...
Dude, it's not like he went on Twitter and was cursing and being, like, outlandish. What happened was, and it's really simple to understand, he was frustrated with the media cycle.
And he said so.
Yeah.
And he said so.
I get that.
He went on ESPN 700 in Salt Lake City, and he said it's frustrating. And you listen to Rick George at Colorado, who absolutely went. The difference is Rick George at Colorado went with a to be gentle, a bot account.
Yeah.
He got in an argument with a bot Twitter account.
Yeah.
You're talking about Mark Harlan going after one of the most respected college football writers in the country in Dennis Dodd.
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's an awfully difficult thing to do. Right? And I just think Mark's a really good athletic
director. But think
director.
about it from Mark's perspective, and I'm not even
Dude.
criticizing the guy. Think about it. Mark knows Dennis Dodd. Right? Everyone knows Dennis Dodd. So when you have that familiarity with the name, of course you're gonna feel a little more comfortable, retweeting or quote tweeting that guy's tweet, because you know his name. And it's like, hey, dude, I'm all pissed off because of the media cycle, and I guarantee you, because Mark is an honest guy, in my opinion, I guarantee you he was like, dude, I'm tired of this. I'm over this whole thing of Utah leaving the Pac-12. I know, like, I have certain information or whatever. I know we're not leaving. At that time, in December, remember, this tweet was in December. In December, Mark was probably saying to himself, as was everyone else in the pack, which, again, that's another conversation, but the narrative was, hey, we're going to get a deal. It's going to happen. We'll have it. I think at that time they were saying, like, February, right? Like, that's what the timeline was, but it didn't happen. And now, what are you noticing? No one's tweeting. If you're saying anything, you're saying it on the record. You're doing it in person or on the radio interview.
Yes.
We're not doing Twitter anymore, right? So that's why I say I get it. It was irresponsible, in my opinion, but we're past that now.
But think about, would you rather have Mark Harlan tweeting like that or Kurt Schultz talking about, like, his timing couldn't have been worse? Well, look, Kurt Schultz at Washington, the president, not the athletic director, the president of Washington.
Which, by the way, really quick, is very different. You guys need to get that.
Are you
Presidents
sure?
and athletic director, everyone just seems to like throw all these guys in the same thing.
No. So Kirk Schultz does this Zoom call with the Board of Regents.
Jesus.
And it's like, well, listen, one TV provider, ESPN. Well, look, they told us it's a bad look. Bad visually. If we give you guys a huge contract, and I want to sign today.
Oh.
We'd sign it today, but we got to lay some people off. So we can't do that, but we love you guys. Stand tall, okay. And then the next day, like a week later, they turned around and gave Pat McAfee $150 million. Well, the optics are bad, or we would sign today.
And that wasn't the only time before the Pat thing. Remember, he did 2 media sessions at the table on the Zoom call, and then there was one more where he was standing in front of, I believe it was a
wall of like
university.
balloons, or
Yeah, dude, and he says the same thing, bro. Like, what do you mean it's the optics, man?
like, what do you mean? It's the optics.
We're continuing to have really good dialogue and discussion with several media bidders and media partners. And there's multiple people that are really interested in the Pac-12. We occupy a really unique time slot that people want Pac-12 football, they want men's and women's basketball. So we've got lots of folks out there, and I know our fans are frustrated. They're like, Kirk, we've been hearing since January, it's imminent, it's going to happen. But I ask everybody to be patient because we have more bidders coming to the table, more people interested as the time goes on. And
more bidders. Wait, did you mean more betters? You mean there's more Terry chicken?
Hold on, wait. Are you a double mac salad guy? No, you know what he is? You know what he is? He's an extra cabbage and brown rice guy.
So let me get
you
this
already
right.
know that.
You have more bidders coming to the table. But wait, you had somebody that wants to sign today, but they had to do their layoffs, and then it was done.
Oh, what are you talking about, man?
I mean, I'm not, I'm not trying to say.
Media rights, where are we now? We've had really, really good conversations with major media outlets and recognizable ones that everybody goes, oh yeah, I can click on the TV and watch that. Over the last 6 months, ESPN's a great example. They laid off a whole bunch of employees. Yeah. If you said, when would be the worst time in the last 6 years to try and negotiate a media deal, probably the last 5 months is going to be pretty close to the worst. And so what's been happening is we've continued to have those conversations with recognizable major media outlets. They're very interested in the Pac-12. People have to remember, you can talk about football isn't as great as this conference or that conference, but we occupy a coveted time slot where people need live sports content around the nation. People like college football, and the Pac-12 owns that West Coast time frame.
Back to the envelope calculations.
Now look, I'm just, some fucking idiot on YouTube. Doesn't USC own that late time? I mean, the peacock, the cock at late at night.
Yeah, the cock.
Doesn't USC and UCLA now own that time zone, sir? And
What?
by the way, the optics are bad. The optics are bad. How bad are the optics that like a week after those bites, your by some reports, your staff had a sit-in or threatened to, and then you announced on a release that we had exclusively on this show? We had the internal memo that somebody at your school sent us where you announced that there's a hiring freeze and a spending freeze on athletics because you guys need to understand your budgets and do an audit and stuff.
But the optics at ESPN are bad right now. Yeah.
Do you see what, that's incompetence. Mark
That's the
Harlan.
untrained eye.
Mark Harlan is a really good athletic director.
Yes.
He is a really good athletic
Utah's not
director.
70 mil in the hole, bro.
Yeah, come on. He is a really, really good athletic director.
Bro, Mark Harlan's not out here talking about how he's going to announce media rights deals, then sign a grant of rights.
No, because he knows that you have to order your calzones before you do
At
that.
Papa Murphy's, we do more than just pizza. We do calzones.
Papa Murphy's does calzones?
Oh, I think you mean I do the calzones.
And how do you do it, Dad?
How do I do it? How do I do it? Oh.
Well, we do it with fresh ingredients and hand-shredded cheese tucked in a scratch-made dough.
That's how, honey.
At Papa Murphy's, we make great pizza.
Hey, don't forget the calzones.
Order now at papamurphys.com.